Hey, good evening. It's still December 7th, 2025. Just a quick update here. I saw that they had an update news briefing from the Las Vegas Sheriff's Department, sheriff, and this particular portion right here is important because they're now showing supposedly a flash in the Cybertruck before the explosion, and they're saying that flash is from the gun that Leibelsberger supposedly used. And they're saying, oh yes, it's cartridges or whatever. I'm going to play this portion for you really quickly.
This was kind of covered really well before, but just to draw some attention to the video evidence, if you can go to like the very first frame you just had right there. So that initial flash point is consistent with the area of the driver that was found in that vehicle and the self-inflicted gunshot wound. That is consistent from our belief that muzzle flash alone could initiate this fuel air explosion. And then this view is a little bit forward. That's initially the second frame as we progress through that. That visual just visually characterizes exactly what a fuel air explosion is as it propagates from the initial ignition and it eventually moves throughout the vehicle.
Okay. Is it just me, or do you see that they had that flash, okay? He's saying that it was the gun going off. And that this particular picture that's up right now is right after the supposed self-inflicted gunshot wound. So, obviously he didn't shoot himself in the head. Did he shoot himself somewhere below where we could see this picture? And they're saying that it was in the head. If it was in the head, his head would not be in one piece like that. That was already explained to people who know a great deal about the gunshot, that type of gun. Let me go back to what Daniel Davis said a day or so back, or before, I forget when, but 3 days ago, I think it was. Watch this.
We'll leave that there. That's questionable. This part, however, is not questionable. Now, this is the explosion. If you can back that up. Okay, here's the explosion from this certain angle. This is one of the most important piece of evidences that's out there. This is from the side, and you can see this is from the driver's side. Most of these others you've seen from various different angles. Now, if you look very close, freeze that right there. Gary, freeze that right at that point. Just about there, freeze. Now, if from this video here, you can see this is the driver's side. Now, if you look carefully into the window, you can see where the driver's head is. You can see his hair, his face, his shoulders, the back of the chair, all that stuff you can see. Now, I have taken some screenshots out of this, and let me show you a series of them. Gary, if you can put that first one up there. This is the first image I'm going to show you here is pulled off that video, and it's right before the explosion happens. And so if you look carefully in there, and now go to the second one there, you can see clearly that there's his head. His shoulder is right there where that arrow is pointing, and then you can see kind of perpendicular the seat back. So this shows a person normally sitting in a vehicle from the angle you would expect. Then go to the next picture. Now, this is the instant of the explosion. This is where things start to go sideways. In this picture right here, you can see that the explosion starts in the passenger seat, or in the driver's seat. So this must have initiated right underneath him. It didn't initiate in the back where allegedly there was some gas canisters and lots of fireworks, etc. It initiated right there in the front seat. So let's take a look there. Now go to the next image here. Let me show you what you can see very clearly now. You can definitely see his face is illuminated very clearly. You can see his ear there right at the end of that arrow, his face, his nose, his hairline. You can see all that. You can see the steering wheel, obviously very well illuminated in that. The next clip there, Gary. If you can go to the next one. Yeah. So you can see that is clear as can be. It's like with this light going on. This is right before, as the explosion happens. Do you see any evidence that this person had already been killed, had already been dead? If he had shot himself with the weapon that they claim was in the front seat, there would be no head. I'm sorry to be graphic, but there would be no head on the body. It would have.
Yeah. So, in this video, they're saying that that this particular video skipped a spot before this particular, like the clip before this, that had the little flash. Still, after the flash, you still have this view right now that's on the screen. And the man's head is still in one piece. No blood, no holes, no exploding head. So that's why I was asking, did he shoot himself, in the foot? Did he shoot himself in the stomach? And still, if that were the case, as Daniel had said, that gunshot would have gone out the car, because it's that powerful, that particular kind of gun. That they had, that the bullets are really big. I think Larry Johnson was saying, it was like this big. This in length, this particular type of bullet from that gun. So again, how in the world does that make sense? All right? Because it's the same thing here. Okay, so he's saying there's a flash before, right here. But there's no bullet coming out. There's no, coming out of the car. There's nothing to see here.
That muzzle flash alone could initiate this fuel air explosion. And then this view is a little bit forward. That's initially the second frame as we progress through that. That visual just visually characterizes exactly what a fuel air explosion is.
Okay, so are you not saying that he shot himself in the head?
Propagates from the initial ignition and eventually moves throughout the vehicle. The flame there on the seam of the door just further verifies that fluid was poured throughout that vehicle.
Well, they're talking about fluid that he had
that vehicle as he rolls up
from some stop.
Vapors from that is
before he came up there.
Even though this goes fast as it's played through, in orders of magnitude, this is much slower than a detonation of high explosives. And then as you continue through it, just show...
Okay, again, what is he saying? I thought he said there was a self-inflicted... Did I miss something? Let me go back and see again.
And that electrical short could result in the ignition of the flammable vapors. This was kind of covered really well before, but just to draw some attention to the video evidence, if you can go to like the very first frame you just had right there. So that initial flash point is consistent with the area of the driver that was found in that vehicle and the self-inflicted gunshot wound. That is...
So again, he's saying that he shot himself. And what they said was that he shot himself in the head. And again, when you see the next clip here,
consistent from our belief that muzzle flash alone could initiate this fuel air explosion. And then this view is a little bit forward. That's initially the second frame as we progress through that. That visual just visually characterizes
I'm sorry, but again, do you see what I'm trying to say here? The man's head is still intact. No blood, no exit for the bullet, first off, out of the car. He's saying that ignited this thing. We know that the guy was turned, his head was turned to his right before this explosion started. So they're saying that little flash was a gunshot, self-inflicted. If that was true, his head would be mush. I mean, what in the world are they saying? Why are they saying this? This does not make sense. What are they really talking about here? Are they being I mean, it just seems to me they are not being they're not being clear, or they're saying things that do not add up. It does not make sense. Because even after they show the flash, they show him sitting there. Just like in the other video. And still, they're trying to say this was a self-inflicted gunshot wound. And let's remember, he said in the head. And that particular gun, its bullets, it would have, if you saw the, let me do it again, see if I can bring it up. If you see the, again, the example of what he showed here, of what this gun does.
Of a 50 caliber pistol. This is as far as I'm aware, this is the largest caliber pistol that it's on the market that you can buy. And you see, this is what it does when it goes through several things. That the kinetic energy of that round, if this was fired at his head, that's what would have happened to his head. It would have literally been vaporized. It is an enormously large bullet with tremendous kinetic power. If this had happened prior to being detonated, then you would have seen in the videos, you would have seen a big blast. You would have seen the flash of the muzzle, and that bullet would, I assure you, would not be contained within the vehicle. No, whatever direction it went, the bullet would have passed out of the vehicle. And then you also have to ask the other obvious question. If he just shot himself, then how did he subsequently detonate the vehicle?
Okay. In the meeting here, or in the press release here, they were saying there was no detonation. Apparently this flash somehow started up everything with this explosion. The self-inflicted gunshot wound. I'm sorry, I can't get over that, because it's the most ridiculous thing when you see the man there and his head is still intact, when you just heard Daniel say with that size bullets and the power of that gun, he wouldn't have a head left. Okay? Does everybody understand that, what I'm trying to say? Please share your comments below this. Give me your ideas on this, because this is not, it's off. It's not working for me. Okay? So thanks for watching. Share your thoughts on this. Okay, so I hope you have a great evening. It's late here. I'm going to get going. Please share my video. Share, like my videos. Follow my channel. Thank you. Have a good one.